The Highland Hills tower the skies. But the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all, tomorrow's world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see everybody in the chat back. Me and Drew are back for a new show. As everybody can tell, it's Haunted Isles of Scotland. Now, I think tonight, this has got to be our first show in this series, and we'll tell you what it's all about, basically, while we let the chat fill up. But basically, what it's about, all the islands, but not just the islands, the coastline. It's also got to be castles, lighthouses, and all these strange locations around the world. I would also like to say a welcome to Meg's Mysteries, my mystical love and light. And there's Baldwin Bonkers. I mean, that must be Dakota there, you know.
Welcome on, everybody.
Who else we got in here? I think that's everybody that's in there. It's Stephanie. I was going to get her out.
You scared to say her name? Christopher.
Stephanie, I've got my postage. I've got my wee bit of paper. It says her name with a big arrow pointing to it. See? We're going to be this show is all about basically the coastline and the islands of Scotland, and it's something that people don't really talk about is the islands of Scotland because there's so many strange places. Now tonight, the island of Kilda in Scotland. It's not really haunted, this place. Well, nobody really knows because it's never had an investigation done. That's what me and Drew were talking about. Nobody has ever been to this island and done an investigation.
I know.
Now, hopefully we can go there and do like a tour because we're thinking about going to Skye and maybe turn that into like a little TV series, touring the islands and the shipwrecks and all the locations around Scotland. I think it would be good because it's never been done before, Kim. I mean, there's nobody ever talked about the shipwreck side of things in Scotland because there's so many places. Now, remember, guys, please check out Drew's channel. Give her a big subscribe. Remember, this live will be played again on her channel. When will this be aired on your channel?
It's usually a Saturday. I put it out a Friday or a Saturday. I usually put it out, guys.
Yeah, there's Brian in there. Hey, peeps, please show no castles. Oh, come on, Brian. Can you want to talk about castles? There's no castles tonight. We're not talking about castles tonight. We're talking about this barn landscape of a place, right? I think you would like it there, Brian. You should. It's like only minus what 6 or 7 outside right now. So can you imagine what it will be in the island? You know.
Oh, I know. It's the furthest out island I can see anyway. I mean, I don't think there is anything past this island either.
It's 64 kilometres for the Americans. It's 40 miles west-northwest of Uist, North Atlantic Ocean. It's the westernmost most island. And it's got the highest cliffs in the UK. Did you know that?
Yeah, I noticed that when I was doing a bit of research on it, that it has got the highest cliff. I was actually surprised at that.
Now, I didn't know that. I thought, I did not know that. And I learned that last night reading Wikipedia and stuff all about it and things like that. Also, please, the link below the video, Spirit Shack, could you please visit that? If you want to support the channel, if you want to buy any apps, because they sell apps for iOS and Android, kind of like the Ghost Talker apps and stuff. It helps the channel. Please visit the store. Other thing, if you liked the trailer tonight, which was obviously Danny's voice, he's brilliant. But if you liked the trailer tonight, guys, please visit the Baldwin Bonkers website because Baldwin Bonkers Dakota makes these lives. He makes the trailers, and I think he done a fantastic job. Drew, what do you think? I mean, that's fantastic.
You know? Yeah, I think I'm going to get him to do me one. I think it's about time I branched out and got a trailer.
And it's no expensive. It's something like $10.
That's okay.
I mean, and you don't need to be part of Bald and Bonkers to get this service from him. He'll do anybody on the planet. He'll make you a trailer. Just go to Bald and Bonkers, check those. Dakota, if you're still in the chat, post that link, please, for me. And please visit him and maybe get yourself a funky trailer for the launch of your show, you know?
And remember, check out the rest of the website there, guys. It's a great website. All the merch is there. There's also ways to join. There's ways to tell your story also as well on the website. So check it out.
So look who we've got in there, Living History Mysteries. Drew number 2, as I would say, is in the chat.
You've got to complicate things. He's actually Drew 1, Christopher, and I'm Drew 2. Yeah.
Is he Drew 1? Is he Drew 1? So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight... Oh, Stockport, welcome, my friend. And I would like to say everybody's watching a Parapost all over the place because we're streaming to 8 locations. We've got Parapost. Let me tell you exactly where we are. Parapost Central, Parapost International. We've got, let me see, my goodness me. We've got Ghost Squad Scotland. We've got Bald and Bonkers, Parapost Network, Parapost International. We've got the Paranormal United Network with Bald and Bonkers, and then we're on Twitter too, so don't be nervous there, Drew.
3.
So, without further ado, everybody, let me show you this lovely place. I think you would love to go your holidays here. What do you think, Drew? You think you would love to go to this location?
Yes.
I mean, it's one of the most haunted. Well, I wouldn't say haunted. It's a ghost village, basically.
Yes.
Aye, it's been abandoned. I mean, it's extraordinary. Look at all those houses there. They've actually repaired some of the houses. You can actually stay in them, I think, if you're part of the island.
Yeah, there is other parts that you can stay. Yeah, they do tours and things as well in the little local street, which is a post office and such like.
But can you imagine? Can you imagine staying there? I mean,
if you really wanted the experience of being one of the old folk of Scotland, you would have to take that weekend, like a weekend there or something to experience that. It would be amazing.
A weekend. I mean, can you imagine it? No electricity, right? No cell signal.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you've got to keep warm is a coal fire or a peat fire, because the island actually had to have coal brought to the island because there's no many trees, so they couldn't like chop them down. I mean, there's been a few shipwrecks here, but I think where there was a couple of deaths in one of them.
Yeah.
But can you imagine doing an investigation on this island? Because this island it's not just the spookiness of it, it's got its own graveyard.
Yeah.
And it's got its own church. Now, I've got a huge array of pictures to show you. Oh, there's your dog there. Maybe that's Sparkle. Wants to go to the...
Sparkle.
So let's just check the chat out, guys, before I go into the... Oh. It's a strange thing with StreamYard now. The kind of goes weird now and again. It's kind of strange. Thank you, Dakota, for posting that link there. Honestly, guys, Dakota's absolutely awesome at making trailers for shows. You don't need to be part of Bald and Bonkers. You can have any channel, right? He will make it for you, and he does a fantastic job, you know. But anyway, back to the photos again. I had to go and see because all the comments were building up. I can see them building up in the corner.
See, the thing is, guys, people didn't want to leave the island either. What had happened was the island was self-sufficient for years and years, but it got to a stage where there was people coming in from the mainland and things, and they were bringing doctors. They were exchanging some of their wares, if you like, for other things off the mainland. But it got to a time where people couldn't function and life was getting hard. What was the year again, Christopher, they left?
I think it was around about 1930, 1940, round about then, because there was World War II broke out, and a lot of that, they were evacuated, I know that, from the island. Here, I think the last living residence, I think, was 2004. There was one person moved off the island. I'm reading on here all about it. Actually, the original name of St Kilda is a matter of, oh good God, conjecture. The island's human heritage includes numerous unique archaeological features because it's actually got a lot of like late Middle Ages. The island. It's been used for that long. I mean, the medieval village on it was rebuilt in the 19th century. But illness brought by increased external... See, that's what they were afraid from. I think the plague did quite a lot of damage to the island, right? But then, the First World War to the island's evacuation in 1930. Now, it was the First World War.
That's there you go then.
Contributed. So, in 1915, 1914, it was evacuated. Some people come back, right, in 1930, but then World War II broke out, as in 1940, and then the island was obviously banned for a long time. I'm just reading it here. It's so interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I mean,
it's a great read if you want to read. There's a lot of books and things have been wrote about it.
Michael Powell's film The Edge of the World. And did you know that? It's habitation that extends back to the, oh my good God, probably near exceeds 180. The peak was, there's a peak on it, it's 180 feet. 1851, according to the 1861 census, there were 71 inhabitants at the time. Its population eventually dropping to 36, May 1930. And then 1940, it was evacuated again. And a lot of the young people went to the army and sadly get killed. It's so interesting. I mean, can you imagine the history that lies in this place?
I know.
Let me show you guys what some of these people look like, right? I think this is the first one here. Look at
that. Just pure kinfolk of Scotland.
I mean,
they were generations upon generations, survived many a winter and things, if you think about it. And then it just got so tough that they couldn't survive anymore. I mean, I do believe that their main source of food was the birds and
it was fish.
And barley and things and fish.
It was fish.
Well.
A lot of the food was brought in, because I'm reading here, the island houses were unique stone structures known as quilting. A stone hut, bothy, while many still exist, they are slowly falling into disrepair. I mean, we've seen them. I'll go back to this one here, actually. That's what a lot of them are like. I mean, these houses didn't have any electricity in them. They all ran in like seal blubber. And it was made into oil. And this is what they would keep the fish and the meat. And it's... I would love to go here because it's absolutely outstanding.
It's a beautiful place. It really is.
I mean, nobody's ever done like a paranormal investigation here.
I'm surprised at that. I mean, they do tours. I wonder if it's something they would consider if you even ask them.
As I've just said here, the entire archipelago owned by the National Trust Scotland, it became part of Scotland's 6th World Heritage Site in 1986. Obviously, that's when the last one. And is one of the few world hold joints. I don't think you're allowed to stay there unless you look after the island.
Right.
The native St. Helena left behind shared the island with a small military base established in 1957. Right. So obviously, the military were there during the war, because think about it, a German U-boat could land some Germans on there. That's what they were afraid of.
That'd be one of the first islands away out there. I mean, I know there's little rock formats around it, but it really is one of the main islands out that way. So if you think about it, it's going to be one of the most places that's formed the people try to hide in things as well.
I know. I'm just reading the chat here. I like to come back to the chat now and again. What will we go? I wanted to build a stone house like that, iron firehouse. I wanted to... What's this here? I wanted to build a stone house like that. Not allowed.
No.
It's a shame. It's so sad that these people have left now, you know.
I know.
I mean,
I
wait till you
know.
see some of these. I've got loads of photos I was showing Drew before we come on. I mean, wait till you see this. This is what you call hardy people.
Look at them with their wee
Wow.
Scottish tabbies on with the wee. I
know.
remember my dad
Aye.
having one of them. My dad had one of them at the start and with a wee bobble at the top. I remember it.
I mean, look at the border collies. There's one, must be what, 3 border collies there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's
can you
what community
imagine?
was. Communities
Aye.
looked after each other.
I mean, can you imagine what it was like on this island? They had sheep, right? There was 2 different types of sheep types that survived on these remote islands, right? That's what they basically had. They had sheep, seaweed, and fish. Because you've got to remember, people actually harvested seaweed. Did you know that, Drew?
Yeah, I knew that. I had their seaweed and things get used in creams and things like that.
That's right.
And things.
But did you know what they used to use it for? They used to use seaweed as a natural fertilizer. They would pick it up, they would dry it, and then they would chop it all up, put it into bags. Then they would take it to like maybe the mainland where it was scattered on fields. And it was used as a, because it's sea kelp. It's really, really, really good for the ground. Here's actually another wee picture here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that.
That looks as if it's in summer or something.
Could you see yourself out there, the new in a wee rowing boat, going out to investigate Alan, paddling away, you know?
See, they've got a nice little cove as well. It goes round like a horseshoe. So, I mean, that you can see why some of the boats would have run aground. And there was, I think one of the boats is not long actually broke right up, but there was shipwrecks and things in the bay. But so it would have been great to investigate them at least.
Well, one of the ships has been taken away because there was a ship wrecked there no long ago. I think it was maybe about 20 years ago. But they actually taken it away because they were afraid that the rats on board would infest the island and destroy the natural the natural wildlife. I've actually got a picture somewhere. Let me see where you are.
They did say that a lot of the tourists that go to this island, there is 2 kinds of sheep, as Christopher was saying. They've got your normal sheep and you've got ruffed wool sheep.
That's
basically the ruffed wool sheep, it looks tatted, but really it just tatters and then falls off. So a lot of people think that the sheep are no well, but they really are just doing what nature does up there, and it just falls off.
It's no that. It's just it's one of the most expensive wools because they make a lot of like clothes and stuff out it. But I'm actually just reading here the stuff that I've actually wrote up last night. I wrote it all up, and it's they'd actually found the Iron Age tools on the island. That's how old this island is. I mean, it makes you think that why would you want to go and stay out there?
I know. See, I think that we're having a little cove. I think there's a lot of treasures to be found there, because if it is one of the main coves as you come across whatever ocean it is, way back when the explorers were around, it wasn't always documented. So there could be hidden treasures in that cove.
Well, I watched a video last night, and it was a guy. He was flying his drone. He actually went onto the island and he flew his drone. Obviously, didn't fly it from the mainland. So that'd just be ridiculous. And he was saying that a lot of people have been finding like really, really old artifacts in the island. See the people that go there to look after the place. Obviously, there's erosion. The sea's eroding things, right? And there's been a lot of things found, like Stone Age stuff. There's been like stuff that's 1,000 years old on that island. And it wasn't. You got to remember, even the Vikings could have visited this island at one point.
Yeah, and a lot of things will wash up there because it is one of the, it is one of the main ways, if you like. A lot of things will wash up in there.
I'm just going to check the chat out there. I need to go back to the chat for a couple of seconds.
Welcome, Paradox. Welcome, Dobie.
Welcome, Paradox. Welcome, Dobie. I didn't see you there. Notice most of it was this here. I'll just go back to your comment there. I'm trying to read your comments, guys. Let's have a look. Notice most of the men had beards. Partly that might be to shield their faces from the tough winds, rain, snow, and just
keep
the
them
guess.
warm.
Aye, they probably did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's next to the Atlantic. Can you imagine what it's like there right now? It's
I
probably
know.
-10.
I
There's
know.
probably a guy sitting in front of a wee fire.
Oh, dear.
And the only
Really
thing giving off heat is his laptop with 1% battery left.
Yeah, I wonder if they would ever make it, that they would try and put like all these mod cons on the island and make something out of it. You know?
There is some more. There is actually, let me see. I've got so many photos to show you guys. There's a graveyard on the island.
Yeah.
Because obviously, which I've got a photo here. Now, as you can see, there's some nice gravestones. That's obviously the rich people. But then there's some stones. That's obviously the poor people.
It's the way they did it then, isn't it? It's the way they did it in Ireland.
It's this, but just remember, guys, this place has never had a paranormal investigation whatsoever.
I wonder how long they give you on the tours, whether they give you like just an hour or two and it's totally concealed by the tour guides, or if they give you maybe 6 hours and you're allowed to go away yourself for an hour or two. I wonder if the tours let you go off on your own.
I think you can stay in the island for quite a while. I think if they take you out there, I think you can spend at least 3 or 4 hours out there. What I've read. There's those sheep that you were talking about, the black ones.
Yeah, rough-willed.
Yeah. That's actually the church, and it was a schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, can you imagine living out there? One chimney. I bet that was cold in the winter time.
Bet.
Oh, I'll actually got some photos here of the children of the island. See if I showed you them.
I'm surprised how much together it really still is. Considering the wind and the rain and things that in the winter that comes to that island, well, comes to Scotland anyway, but to come to that island, to think how much it is still all still standing is quite actually a miracle.
I think because it's a World Heritage Site, I think it's looked after now. Obviously, I think there's 2 people stay in the island in the summer. I think in the winter time it's abandoned. I think they're basically. I don't think you're allowed to go on it at certain times of the year because of wildlife.
Probably, because I did notice that there's actually studies goes on in the island about a lot of the wildlife. I think there's some sort of wild bird or something that they're doing a study on out there at how it. I can't even remember the name of the bird. About how it acts in a natural habitat and different things. So there is a lot of studies going with the wildlife out there. That's probably why.
I mean, I think we should go, Drew. What do you think?
I think we should try and book a tour.
I think we should try and get a tour there because, and try and take the ghost box with us to just hide it in a bag.
If you let you go away yourself for a couple of hours or even an hour, I mean, you don't need that long, really.
I mean, it's quite interesting because the size of the island is 3.3 square miles. So it's 3 miles long, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's, oh my God, its height elevation is 400 meters, 1,410 foot above sea level. I'm actually just reading there's no population there now.
No, but you can come if you want as well.
Aye. One of you lucky subscribers gets to row the boat.
Yep, come as well.
I mean, I wanted to start off with this place first because it was the furthest out one. I mean, there's still loads of photos to show you guys. We will be talking about next week. We're going to be talking about Port Patrick.
Yeah, because Christopher was telling me about Port Patrick. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's a castle in Port Patrick. There's the cruise liner that sunk, and there's just so much history today with the islands of Scotland. I mean, let's go back to
Yeah, I
these
think
photos.
people forget about that. Everybody concentrates on your cemeteries and your big locations, but you forget about the shipwrecks and the little islands that's the ghosts of the past that's there. Much
There's
like
one
this
of them there.
island is the ghost of the past, isn't it?
Well, there's one of them. That's one of the ships. This one was quite interesting. This was carrying coal in the 1950s, and it ran aground. But they managed to save it because I don't know how they saved it, but they managed to save it. But it's not just that. There's actually a fake reef there. There was a ship there that they removed. There's actually a fake wreck on the, it's like they made it into a wreath kind of thing on the island. It was deliberately left there. But let's have a look at this one here. Oh my God. Now, these guys look, I don't know about you, but I think these guys look a bit depressed.
That's like they're smiling. I think they're smiling. They're probably smiling because they're on camera. They're probably amazed at cameras. I mean, that's probably a way back, goodness knows when. So
I never noticed the child.
Just amazed.
You see,
yeah, there's a wee kid there. And there's a wee baby in her arms. Full generation.
I mean, guys in the chat, who MD in the chat, who would like to go there? How many in the chat would like to go here and stay here and experience it?
Or even just a day tour and stay a few hours.
I would say that's the best one because that shows you what was left before the left. That was 1930, I think that was took.
Welcome, Shell.
I mean, that was 1930. I mean, that's... Look how old-fashioned. I mean, can you imagine what it was like in that island? God.
I know.
It was...
I mean, to think all those families would... I mean, the full lot of them would have stayed probably under the one roof. So that's probably how they kept warm at night, just cuddled all up together under a woolly blanket.
Well, there's what the houses look like now, right? And here's what they look like, the ones that you can go into. Because you would remember it as like a museum, right? So here's what it looked like. This photo was took in 1923, I think it was. It said at the bottom there.
Basically 100 years ago then.
Okay, I've just noticed something there with that black and white photo. Can you see the face in it? Can any of you see the face in that? Can any of you see the face?
Oh, I can see it in the back. See where the guy's got his shoulder.
The last guy, the white.
I can see it. But I wonder if it's somebody staring over his shoulder, if it is a ghost of the past. See, it looks as if that's a wall that they're standing against, though.
It is a wall.
So that wouldn't be a face then, wouldn't it? No, there wouldn't be anybody standing there.
There would be nobody standing there. See, this is where it gets interesting. I know
people that have been here. Photos are bad for it. Well, good for it.
I mean, I know people that have been here, and it's very creepy at night.
Oh, very creepy at night.
I
bet you hear the ghosts of the past.
You know, just that the graveyards. That's actually quite spooky. That actually, I've just seen that because you can see his eyes.
You can definitely see. That's definitely a face because you even see their hairline.
God.
Wow.
There was no Gillette razors in their days.
No, was there, Hector? I think they burnt it off, didn't they? Burnt it.
I don't know how they got that. They shaved in their days. I think, they used the old flip knife kind of thing. You know, I've tried using one of them. You need to be extremely brave. I mean, I've never seen that. That's so weird. How it's just. I'm just going to take that down for a minute and go to the chat and see what everybody's saying. What do you think, guys, in the chat about that strange thing? It would be an amazing experience, though. But I mean, at night, can you imagine walking about the island? As long as you didn't go near the cliffs, that is.
Oh, but that's why they don't let you do overnight, because they're maybe too dangerous.
Where's Alan? I don't know. He went up with the cliffs. You'll be watching this, you know. But if you get any questions, guys, about the island, and I can read it out or whatever for you. I mean, what's that?
I
Living
dream
history. Oh my!
I would love it up there as well. I think I would like a little bit more of a community and not just maybe one or two people. But it'd be amazing up there if there was maybe 50 people
I could
at least.
get a caravan there. I could get a caravan there. That'd be quite good. Nice and
That would
relaxing.
have.
I mean, I would like to go there and do an investigation because I think there'll be spirits there. There'll be always spirits there that nobody's ever done an investigation before.
It really is quite far off the mainland, though. You do have to dodge around a few other islands to get right out to it. It really is quite far out.
Well, it's 40 miles from the mainland.
40 miles, wow. That's a lot.
I mean,
be sick.
It's. Do you know that I just actually found out here between the deaths of Alexander III in 1286? This is when people lived in the island. 1286, but before that, there's people on the island.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the islands have always had people on them. That's where all your clans and things came from, and they would get them all down through the lowlands and whatever.
It's actually quite interesting you see that because a lot of went to fight with William Wallace and stuff. They actually left the island to go. I mean, how did they know?
I know, that's crazy.
I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. I mean, how did they know this? What's this for living history? Yeah, I'm just reading things back. Iron Fire Horse, the cabin I have plans is the mobile one that take camping never comes off. I mean, it would be a good experience. It would be a good experience, and I think we definitely need to go to that location. You know, let me go back to some of the photos because I've got more. I've got loads of them stashed away.
I'm looking for more ghost faces.
And let's see. We'll start off with the graveyard first. We'll see if we can see anything. I mean, can you imagine how notoriously difficult it was digging a grave in that island because most of it was stone?
It doesn't look very even either. It's as if they just dug a hole and placed you in it, and then maybe the hole was up a little bit and dug another hole. It's not very even.
They did. They just dug a hole and flung you in, and that was you. I mean, you got to remember the fields. All the fields are completely covered in boulders.
That'll be grave, likely.
It is graves. Aye, that's an interesting one. See, there was the schoolhouse with the chimney, and then there was the church there too. I mean, that's where the caretakers for the island stay now, because you see the house at the bottom, the white building.
That would have been the heart of the community, that little building. That little building would have hosted things at night. It would have hosted people's birthdays. It would have hosted Christmas. That would have been the heart of the place. And for that to still be standing, imagine turning a spirit box on in it.
I mean, how many in the chat out of you all would love to do an investigation there? Because there'll be people out there saying, "Oh, you can't do that. That's sacrilege." Look, everywhere's had a ghost investigation, and
it's not as if they all died off. They all had to leave the island, you know.
They left, and it goes all the way back to nearly over 1,000 years. Can you imagine what's buried on that island? Can you imagine what's been buried in just random places?
Even taking what do you call it, one of those meters that scan for different, what do you call them? The electric things that beep along the beaches and see what you can find.
What you mean?
A metal detector. Imagine what you could find. Just randomly.
just going to have a wee look at the
It's
chat.
a beautiful place, guys. We definitely need to try and make an effort to go to this one. We are going to try and go further afield and do things that not a lot of other people have done. So when we do, we'd like you to share it out as well, guys. If that would be really appreciated, because these places aren't famous, so therefore it does take a little bit more pushing for people to watch.
I mean, I think it'd be good. See, this is our idea, guys. I think like a wee film show going to these islands around Scotland, because it's not just these islands. You've got lighthouses. I mean, do you know that's actually, remember the show we did? What was it? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? The Lighthouse Keepers.
Yeah, planning.
Aye, that's just near there. It's just up there.
All right.
That's just up there.
Well, that makes sense because of how far it is. Then,
yeah, and I think maybe like a wee TV series, right? Going round all these little islands, archipelagos or whatever they're called, and maybe doing a wee investigation, getting the history. I mean, I found out that the graveyard, I think there's over 200 people in the graveyard for obviously the years, but you've got to remember that a lot of people didn't get just buried in the graveyard. The graveyard's a new thing when the Christianity came. Before the Christianity and stuff like that, they just buried them here, there, and everywhere.
In places like that, it was the sea, wasn't it? They put them in the sea and hoped that the gods would take them to heaven or whatever, and left little memorials. That's mostly what the stones will be. It'll be little memorials. There might not be bodies there.
There we go. There's lots of them
Even
dotted
if we
all
tried
over the
to find somebody that could take us around the islands on a tour, hire somebody that knows about the islands and a bit of the history on them to take us around and tell them what we're doing, and maybe we could get a lot of different islands that we didn't know.
That's what I was thinking. We could do all the different islands.
Shipwrecks as well, find them.
It's the shipwrecks, yeah. It's the shipwrecks. It's not just that. Do you know where I would love to go in Scotland? And I bet the chat will agree with me here. Is Scapa Flow.
Where's Scapa Flow?
Oh,
never heard of that.
So way the north, as far north as possible as you can go. It's near the Orkney Islands, Orkneys.
Right. Well, I always said I do want to go up as far as you can go in Scotland. I'd love to do that in a caravanette.
It's
stay.
Let's see, Scapa Flow. I'll use my Google Maps and I'll tell you the exact coordinates to it. Yes, God, sometimes Google's really, really annoying. It takes me to a restaurant called Scapa Flow.
Oh my goodness, it's just up the road.
I know.
It's in Edinburgh.
I mean, that's where the World War One, and the fleet was sunk there. The German fleet was sunk there at the end of the war to stop the British from getting all the battleships. Right. They scuttled them all.
Right.
I'll wait and see if I can bring up a photo. Just see here.
History. True one says they said most of the 90 Scottish islands are there for the resettling. Wow, there you go. You might find yourself an island to settle on.
Yeah, I know.
You never know.
Let's have a wee look at this next picture. There's just so many places we could talk about.
I know. There's so many islands.
I wanted to get this one out the way first because this one, it's no boring, but it's no got much history about it, right? It's never had an investigation done, and I think that's a starting point there would make it interesting.
Yeah, I definitely feel as if we could do a ghost hunt there. Even if they don't let you do a ghost hunt, all you have to do is walk about filming and hope the spirits come through your camera. I mean, most of the time they will come through. You know,
that face. I don't know if it's a picture, if it's a trickery.
It looks as if it's glowing, though.
It does. It looks like it's kind of morphing between the guys.
Right, Lex, you need to look at it.
Right, Lex, if you're watching, man. I mean, you got to remember a lot of these men, or some of these men were killed fishing.
I know. I know. And went to war, never came back and things. I know. It's just so intriguing the fact that they lived their lives there for all those decades and then wars hit, disease hit, and they had to leave, guys. They would have still been there to this day, probably, if they had the, just wasn't plausible for them anymore. Plausible, sorry. It must have broke their hearts. That energy will be there as well, the heartbreak.
You think about the young men in World War One that left this island because they were made to go, let's face it, to go and fight in the trenches of France. Never to return ever again.
I know.
And then the older generation slowly died out, and the younger generation were like, oh, I don't want to fish the rest of my life. I want to go to this modern era, because let's face it, it was coming into the modern era where there's cars. You got to remember, the people on this island had never seen cars before.
People were starting to take day trips to the main island and that, and they were coming home and telling people just how good it was, and then other people were taking the day trips over to the main island, and that's how it came about, guys. People started to trust a little bit more because they didn't trust the mainland people, and then it took for them to come to us, with healing things and getting to know them, and then through time they trusted them back and went to where they were from, and that's how they trusted. A lot of them didn't come to mainland Scotland. A lot of them went to Ireland. Others went to just across the island. It's no Sweden and the Netherlands and things.
See,
all scattered.
There was actually some of them that left to go to Canada and America, and I think it was like the New World kind of thing. Because I watched, as I say, I watched a 2-hour show last night on it. And it was actually so interesting. A lot of the older generation stayed, of course, when there was no younger generation there to start the fishing. They weren't making their money, right? They just died off because the younger generation were going to war. Let's face it. I think there was about 40 or 50 went to the war, and there was only maybe 20 returned or something. And then World War II started. I said World War III there. As it World War II started, and the island was like just closed off. It was like
a lot
totally
of them got
abandoned.
enslaved. Some of them actually, I'm not so sure if it was this island, but I know with other research I've done, a lot of people that's left Scotland to go to Canada and such places did get put into slavery, much like the people coming over from Africa and things. And so a lot of the Irish.
A lot of these people, a lot of the Scottish and Irish immigrants, well, that's going to America, were used as, what's the word I'm looking for? Cheap labour. Cheap labour. You got to remember with the slaves for Africa and stuff, they weren't paid. They were just chained up. Terrible. What happened to them?
Yeah.
The Scottish and the Welsh and the Irish, they were used as really cheap labour. And I mean extraordinarily cheap labour. A
lot of them had to pay off probably big bills because they had to get these big ships over to these places. So they'll probably have had to owe money and things to pay off.
If you I wonder what that was there. I thought it was the ship horn. If you look at
the ship can drive with the horn.
What do you call it? I wonder if there's any of these kids left. That's what interests me. This is 1930, just before they evacuated the island. So I wonder if there's any of these kids left still living. Do you think there will be? No, I think they'll all be dead now, but it makes you wonder how many of them emigrated to different countries like Canada, because a lot of them did go to Canada, or America, and that's where they are now. Their families are.
Yeah, I know. I bet they're all grown up.
Yeah.
All grown up, and some of them are back with their ancestors.
Well, I know somebody that was born in 1937, and he's still alive.
Wow.
He's 100 and something. He's 100, round about 100 years old, nearly 100. I mean,
115.
Were they?
When was he born?
No, because He's 98. He's 98. So that would,
right.
so let me think. That would be. Because he was he'd been around about the 1940s, 1930s.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's sad that it's changed now for tourists.
I know.
But
It makes you wonder if they could ever make the island relivable again.
Yeah.
Put on, I'd see how you buy these domes and things that you can survive in. You never know. In the future, they may do something like that for the tourists.
But maybe. But let's face it, there's no very good internet signal out there.
But they would have to really, really, really put something there for people to see.
So, is there anywhere in Scotland Island you would like to talk about, Drew, next week? Or
Oban, I think.
Oban.
Definitely talk about Oban, I think, in the future, because there's a lot of things about Oban that's intriguing. It's actually on the water as well, guys. So we can look up some creepy stories about Oban and maybe some facts and things about there.
Dobby Sock, my uncle will be 98 this month. My goodness. Imagine getting to 98.
98. Wow.
Do you know what? I was in an old folks' home today, and there was a woman in there, and she was 105. 105.
Wow.
So there you go.
If you live to be that long, you know you've led a good life.
Yeah.
You need to, if you ever come across somebody like that, ask them their secret. Ask them what they did that was different. Did they drink the water? Did they smoke? Did they not smoke? I would ask loads of questions if I knew somebody that old.
That's very true. That's very true. But I'll tell you something, next week will be extremely interesting when we talk about Port Patrick.
Yes.
Because there's the castle at Port Patrick. There's the hotel at Port Patrick. There's multiple... there was a steamer that sunk and the lifeboat had to save the people on the steamer.
Mm-hmm.
And that castle at Port Patrick's one of the most haunted castles in the world.
Wow.
So there you go. And we'll need to go to Port Patrick one day, but it'll take 2 hours to get there driving along,
We definitely go to these places, guys, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll quarter in, half in the petrol, quarter in the petrol, and things. Hopefully I'll be driving, but then we can even half in the driving.
Huh?
You never know.
There's a cliff, Drew.
Bye. Thelma and Louise.
Oh dear God. Is there any guys in the chat? Where would you like to go so as I can add them to the list? Whereabouts the islands of Scotland would you like to talk about? Because we'll have Port Patrick, we've got Scapa Flow, we've got Oban. Just so as I can make
That's right, Dobby. I heard some islands sent their kids to the mainland to school during the week, home on the weekends. That's right. I read that today.
That's right. Mm-hmm. There's, oh my God. I mean, there's not just that. We've got that fort at the...
There really is so many.
And then there's a place that I would like to talk about, but it's not an island. It's the Tay Bridge disaster.
Oh, right. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
That's the one, the train, the Tay Bridge collapsed and the steam train crashed into the water. Oh, God. I think this has got to make a good series. I really do.
I own it in Inverary, Dobby's saying as well. So
I own Inverary. I'll look back in this and I'll take that down. So, could you all please go and subscribe to Drew's Paranormal? Is it still Drew's Paranormal Vlog, or have you changed the name?
Still find it through Drew's Paranormal Vlog, guys. Yeah, you still find it through that. So it's Drew's Paranormal Vlog. Yeah.
So this show, guys, will be out on Saturday on Drew's channel. But if he's want me to do a show Pacific Island, any island you want in Scotland, obviously, because it's Isles of Scotland, or it can be the coastline. So if there's any castles or forts or old abandoned lighthouses, as long as it's on the coast or it's on the islands, I mean, Oban's an interesting place.
Yeah, Oban's going to be good.
You
Yeah.
ever been to the Connell Bridge in Oban, Drew?
I was there.
Don't
I
be
was
those
there
ones.
when I was younger, and then I went there a couple of years back when Liam was only about 2, and my mum fell no well, and we had to leave early. And I was raging that we had to leave early because we'd went up to the big Colosseum. See how there's like the Colosseum? We'd went up there, and then we were only there about an hour and a half and had to leave because it was such a long drive home. But that's why it intrigues me so much, I think, because the Colosseum and things is all there.
There's a lot of like really haunted locations around kind of Scotland, but we'll get to them next week. I think the Port Patrick one's interesting because it's not just because it's got the castle, the big fancy hotel. There's actually so many wreck ships there.
Well, there's lots of wreck ships.
Crazy golf course. I know, but if we go there, we'll have to have a game of crazy golf.
Definitely. Yes. Yes, we'll have crazy
Just
golf.
reading the chat there. I'm just reading
Oh, the Isle of Craig. Isles of Craig.
Oh, is there somebody, there's Nicole going on about my keychain? Actually, right, where if I can find it here, where am I? I've ordered some, will be getting delivered soon. I'm going to be doing a giveaway on the show, maybe next week or maybe after, depending when they get delivered, that is. And I'll be giving away one of these.
You have got merch, Chris, haven't you? Is your merch on the Baldwin Bonkers website?
My merch is my merch should be on the Baldwin Bonkers website. It's I'll post it for you in the chat. Skis 2 secs, guys. I usually link it at the bottom of the video. Video. Yeah,
what's coming up, guys? We'll do a lot more research on other things in Scotland that not a lot of people have done either. And we'll try and cover that and find out some crazy little facts and things, okay?
Yeah.
Tonight's was just to get us started to show you just how crazy some of these islands are. Abandoned.
I hear it here. I can't put my merch somewhere. Let's see. Why does nothing work when you want it to work?
It's always the same.
It's one of the things is when you want it to work, it doesn't work. You know? Copy.
Yeah.
All right, I'll post it in the page, guys, in the chat. It's always the same. I always have this problem. I don't know why that is. It's me. I'm very technically advanced.
Yeah.
You know. There you go, guys. If you click that, that'll take you into my. I posted it in the chat. That should help you. I've got cups. I've got spoon. I think I've got everything. Dakota Designs, everything. It's there. So that's there. Zazzle.com store, and there's so much stuff. As I say, and I remember you again. Remember and visit Baldwin Bonkers online because Dakota can make the trailers for you for a very, very good price.
Yeah, definitely.
Really you will recognise that one of the voices is Danny from his channel. Remember, check his channel out too, guys, because he's got an awesome channel.
And that's Bones Inspectors, guys, for anybody that doesn't know
him. Yeah. It's very cold tonight. What's the temperature outside?
Cold.
It's -8 outside.
Well, I went to Tesco and Liam said after we came out, we'll stay here because it's 20 minutes to the bus. I says, no, let's walk up. Well, I walked up and it was about 40 minutes we waited and we were frozen. About 40 minutes. Chilly.
But, you know, it's been an interesting show tonight. I've been wanting to talk about this island for a long time. We will get to this location, but we'll be getting to a lot more locations. Because nobody's done it. As I say, nobody's ever thought about this. Nobody's ever thought about going to the islands and get what I mean. Is that don't be shocked. I actually snowed here today, but didn't stay. But it's very cold.
I think we have to get snow at the end of the week.
You know, I think it's to start snowing tomorrow. I think it's to
tomorrow?
start snowing tomorrow. And
Typical.
yeah. But you know, it's been a good show tonight. I know we've only got, well, how long have we got left? We've got 54 minutes. We've only got about 5 minutes. It's amazing how time flies.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Online store link should be there below the video after this uploads. I forgot to add it. But if you want to buy ghost hunting equipment, go to Spirit Shack and use the link below this video. Because if you buy an app, I get like a little proceed of that. Or you buy like a computer thing, I get a little proceed of that. It's not much. I think it's like
Every little helps though, Chris. Yeah, every little helps.
What's that? Chris, Dobie, so Chris, could you a 5-minute dance? There you go.
There you go.
You know, I'm actually going to, hopefully I'm going to another graveyard on Sunday to film. It's a 13th century graveyard.
Oh, wow.
But knowing my luck, it'll be snowing. I just need to get Alan to get out of the car.
Well, poor Alan. He'll end up with a cold again.
He'll be fine. Give him a ton of tea cake, you know.
Oh, there, everybody dancing with us, Chris.
But listen, guys, next week will be a very interesting show with Port Patrick.
Yeah.
Because do you know that there was cannibals in Stranraer, near Stranraer?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't.
Well, maybe mention that. We'll talk about Galloway.
We'll
Port
find
Patrick
out
next
more.
week. And there was cannibals, guys.
Wow,
that was to me. You know? He ran out of tonics, tea cakes. But anyway, guys, I'm going to say good night. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week for Port Patrick Castle, Port Patrick Hotel, because the history of that location is amazing. Thank you for visiting my links. Was that's something I didn't know. What's that? Dobie Sock, that's something that, yes, it was, I think near the Mully Galloway, there was a cannibal family. But I think it was maybe in the 1800s, round about then. They used to go out and kidnap people and take them home and have them for their dinner. So there you go.
Mysticals found a good cemetery. Someone told me about a very haunted graveyard today. She said he was like seriously haunted. I think I'm going to do that one by myself. Lee will stay in the van. Typical, isn't it? Mystical of them, like.
As typical.
Good
Men
night,
nowadays,
Dobie,
you can't get them. You can't get them to do anything, can you? I'm just digging myself a hole in there. But anyway, guys, take care. Have a fantastic week. Thank you, Drew, for coming on. Remember, check out all those links below. And we'll see you next week for I've actually got about 40 or 50 photos to show you next week. So,
Brilliant.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye, everyone.